Hello, this is Barry Kane, Superintendent of the Ellsworth Community School District. The following PowerPoint presentation was presented to our school board by the district's Ad Hoc Facilities Committee at the November 12th school board meeting. Some pictures that highlighted facility needs are not included due to the length of the presentation, but all the information presented to the board is available in this presentation. The Ad Hoc Facilities Committee began its work this past May and met 14 times for nearly 30 hours of work. There were many hours of work completed by members and administration outside of these meetings as information was gathered to present and discuss at each meeting. The committee is the result of a school board goal and our strategic plan that focuses on providing facilities that provide for quality education today and in the future. It is important to note that the committee's role is one of gathering information rather than providing for solutions. This was emphasized throughout the process followed since May. The Ad Hoc Facilities Committee is made up of over 20 committed community members to gather information and examine the current and future facility needs of the district. I'd like to thank all of the members for the honest and thoughtful discussion that led to the information presented at our school board meeting. Through the committee's work, a number of current facility needs have been identified and have been categorized into 3 areas. It is the recommendation of the committee that the board should now move forward through the involvement of professionals to further study the avenues and costs of addressing the many facility needs of the district. The school board will now move forward with further discussion about the committee's recommendation and various avenues of addressing our facility needs. Our district lacks facilities that provide for our children's expanding educational needs of today and the future. The committee identified 3 broad areas of facility need for our district. These are educationally appropriate space, building access, safety, and security, and aging facilities, mechanical infrastructure, and transportation. The following slides will provide specific examples of these needs as identified by the committee. Educationally appropriate space. We lack educationally appropriate spaces that can provide for the educational requirements of the 21st century. The committee identified 9 specific examples of this. The first example is significantly inadequate classrooms that do not meet today's demands. This was seen most at our elementary school level. Our 1960s buildings and classrooms currently do not provide the space or flexibility that is needed to provide for a quality educational atmosphere. Our classrooms are often crowded and cluttered due to a general lack of space and storage. The addition of new educational technologies also provides us with challenges for the future. Deteriorated portable classrooms. We currently have 2 portable classrooms at Prairie View and 1 at Hillcrest. These facilities are aging and deteriorating. As educational settings, they lack space and are not quality educational settings for a variety of reasons. Makeshift spaces for teaching students in hallways and entrances. Our staff is very resilient and is adaptable, but space is at a premium in our schools, and this has often led to adapting areas that were not originally designed for teaching students into areas that are used for spaces for group and individual instruction. Hallways, doorways, entrances, etc. are now being used as areas to teach our students. These settings are not quality settings for our students and staff. Immediate demands for improved technology capabilities. The world of education is changing rapidly as our district invests in new technologies to meet the demands of today's world. We have invested in major upgrades in this area and will continue to promote the need for expansion of technology in our schools. As shown, the Middle School Technology Lab is a very good example of a quality space. Our middle school and high school students are now using personal devices, laptops, and iPads in the classroom. We need to provide for the infrastructure to allow us to continue to move forward in this area, and we need buildings that will allow us to continually adapt to the fast-paced changes we see. Inadequate elementary library and computer spaces. As an example of the expansion of technology, we have recently added computer labs to our elementary schools. These were greatly needed to advance our students' abilities and provide for standardized testing done at the elementary levels. These were added to our library spaces. The roles of our library spaces are changing as we move more and more towards technology, but we need the space to provide for quality education. At this time, we simply do not have the needed space and flexibility. Inadequate elementary gym and cafeteria spaces. Our elementary gymnasium spaces are currently used for our lunchrooms. There are space issues regarding our students in these areas, and more importantly, the use of these areas for lunch causes scheduling issues for our physical education classes, as these are classrooms that are used on a daily basis. No professional meeting space to ensure confidentiality for our children and families. District-wide, we lack appropriate meeting spaces for our professionals and families. In many cases, we currently use storage spaces as areas to meet with families. The confidentiality of our professional work and meetings regarding our students is an issue that needs to be addressed. Substantial lack of storage space in classrooms and buildings district-wide. The elementary schools have an extreme need for an additional storage space in our classrooms and building-wide. In many cases, supplies and equipment are stored in hallways. This is a safety and operational issue and does not provide for a quality learning environment. Lack of appropriate outdoor, co-curricular, and community areas. Our outdoor spaces are used for educational and recreational areas by our schools and communities. Upgrades in playground equipment, physical education areas, athletic facilities, and community recreation areas are needed. We have recently made great improvements to our track, playground equipment, and field spaces, but there are additional needs in some areas. Building access, safety, and security. Modern safety design concepts are lacking that offer secure environments for our children and public. The committee identified 6 areas of concern for this district facility need. Main entrances in all schools must be redesigned to provide for security. Modern facility design for building security lacks in all of our buildings. Schools built in the past decade have focused much more on providing for student and staff security. In all of our schools, we lack the ability to control the flow of people in and out of our buildings while school is in session. Lack of controlled access and the ability to isolate portions of our building. We see this especially at our senior high school, as we have numerous entrances and the inability to isolate evening events. Modern entrances, magnetic locking systems, and other forms of isolating areas need to be explored to increase security. Insufficient parking space for public and school event use. We lack parking at Hillcrest, Lindgren, Prairie View, and the middle school. This is especially true for our large events. Bus loading and drop-off areas are in need of redesign. Community traffic flow and bus drop-off areas need to be examined and redesigned to provide for the safety of our students. This is especially true at our elementaries and middle school. Security camera systems are needed in some buildings and on buses. Our district has invested in security camera systems at the senior high school, middle school, and on some buses. These systems have proven to be very effective in deterring harassment, theft, fights, and other issues. Our other schools do not have these systems currently in place. Lack of appropriate entrances and facilities for people with disabilities. We need to examine each building to be sure that we accommodate for the needs of people with disabilities. Aging facilities, mechanical infrastructure, and transportation areas. Half-century-old, inefficient facilities and mechanical systems. The majority of our schools have aging infrastructure such as original windows, boilers, and heating and ventilation controls. We need to address many of these issues to provide for greater efficiencies and reliability. The committee identified 5 areas of concern. Original boilers and heating and ventilation systems. Prairie View, Lindgren, Hillcrest, and the senior high school all have original boilers and ventilation systems. These 1960s systems need to be addressed as they are aging and inefficient. Original windows. The windows in many of our schools are also original to the buildings. They are extremely inefficient and do not provide for comfortable settings in many of our classrooms. Pool structure life cycle is near completion. The pool dome is nearing its original life expectancy. The future of this facility must be addressed soon. Past studies of this facility have shown that the pool itself must have a structure over it during the winter months for it to survive. Simply not putting the dome up or not having another structure is not an option for the operation of the pool. Asbestos in many classrooms, ceilings, and hallways, which hinders maintenance. We still have asbestos in many ceilings, piping, and floors within our buildings. Asbestos abatement has been addressed in some buildings and areas, but we still have many areas that are in need of abatement for long-term maintenance and safety. Maintenance and transportation storage space and mechanical needs. We lack heated and cold storage in the maintenance and transportation areas. Many buses are currently stored outside, and maintenance storage is currently taking up classroom space in the senior high school. Our committee's recommendation. As introduced earlier, it is the recommendation of the committee that the board should now move forward through the involvement of professionals to further study the avenues and costs of addressing the many facility needs of the district. I would like to once again thank the committee members for their commitment and their work in identifying the facility needs of the district. If there are any questions about the committee's findings, please feel free to contact me at the school district office at 715-273-3900 or by email at cainb@ellsworth.k12.wi.us. Thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation and taking interest in our school district's operation.